Hello everyone, my name is Zach. I am the Traveling Man, and today I come to you from Amsterdam, where thanks to my friends from Short Excursions Group, I'm going to do something I've never done before. I'm going to do a walking food tour around the Jordaan district here in Amsterdam. So come on if you're ready and hungry. Let's get this adventure started. So having just arrived now in the Jordaan district, and this is about a 30-minute walk, so a good mile and a half from the cruise terminal. I'm actually here in port today on Norwegian Prima, so just in port for today. But like I said, taking this short excursion over here to the Jordaan district. So I walked over here, about a 30-minute walk. The tour does advise that you take a taxi or an Uber if you can, but I decided I would walk. But it's beautiful here, despite the rain, a little bit of rain this morning, but we'll hope that it kind of stays away today. But we are going to be starting just across the street. There is going to be our first cafe. So let's go over there, check it out, and get started on this walking food tour of Amsterdam. The first stop on our exciting walking tour around Amsterdam was at the Papa Neelan pub. This is actually the meeting point where we met our tour guide and all the other participants in the exciting tour. But this was a beautiful pub, and former President Bill Clinton actually visited this pub and was such a fan of the Dutch apple pie when he visited here. The pub also features an upstairs portion, so there's plenty of places to sit in here. It's very tiny though, but there's so many things to see. I enjoyed walking around and just exploring the pub, but what I enjoyed more than that was the food that we had, because here we got to try some Dutch apple pie, and you can see there just how delicious this pie was. Not only did it look delicious, it tasted delicious. So many layers there of apple were served with some whipped cream on the side. And of course they had different beverages, lattes, waters, beers for folks to try. And then next it was back outside as we made our way back out into the rainy day of Amsterdam and walked to the next food location, which featured some fish. So we're waiting for our second course, which is going to be fish. Second restaurant to be ready. They're still working on it. So we popped into this Dutch supermarket to see what a Dutch supermarket was like. And it's really neat when you look at things to see some of the same packaging, but not only tasting food, but seeing some of the food that they sell in the supermarket, in the grocery stores, I should say, here in Amsterdam. Of course, a lot of wine here in the grocery store, and they were telling us that the legal drinking age here in Amsterdam, here in the Netherlands, is 16 years old. So quite a bit different from other places in the world that's quite young, but 16 years old is the legal drinking age right now here in the Netherlands. So now we're just here outside of the said supermarket that we were just in, out here on the street, where we've just had some fish, some herring. We're waiting. In just a second we'll have the cod, but it's really interesting, and I'll show you a video right here of how we ate the fish. You grab the herring and then got a pickle right under it, and then another piece of herring, and then you dipped it in onion to finish. So it's sort of like a sandwich of sorts, a fish sandwich. Pretty good. And now we're going to get to try some cod though. But yeah, just out here on the street in Amsterdam, it's beautiful here. You see all the bicycles. Everyone rides bicycles. There are more bicycles in the Netherlands than there are people. So I mean, people just everywhere riding bikes, which is very neat. But it is raining a little bit heavier now. The rain's coming down, but this is pretty typical for Amsterdam. It rains a lot here. They get a lot of rain here, so it's sort of just like an average typical day here in the Netherlands.
Kibbeling is deep fried cod. I've got some napkins for you guys if you want to grab one, and please pass them on.
Fish minus chips.
Cod. And this is better than fish and chips. So you can dip the cod.
So after enjoying that delicious fish, we actually just walked right across the street a little bit to this beautiful bar / pub. It was really nice in here. It was so well decorated and just a very like homey environment inside of here. But here at this location, we actually got to try an assortment of different cheeses. Now, Amsterdam is known for their cheeses. They actually used to be called cheeseheads because of all of the delicious cheese that they produce. So it was really cool to get to just try cheese here. And we got to try 3 different types of cheeses here. One was a newer cheese that hadn't aged that long. One was an older cheese, and one was a goat's milk cheese. All of the cheeses were delicious. They also served them with some sauces on the side and some pretzels.
These cars amuse me.
gonna try something that's a mix of cultures.
This stop was one of my favorites because we got to sample some delicious food. It really blended a lot of different cultures, but Indian was the main culture that was here. So the food was really delicious. We got to try these wraps and we got to dip some hot sauce on top of them. So it's still raining as we transit and make our way through Jordan, but we're 4 stops down with 2 stops to go. Of course, we started with dessert, that delicious apple pie that you saw at the first cafe. That cafe was actually where we met. We're not too far from there. We've actually just sort of walked in a circle so far, so not going too far away in distance. But it is really cool to walk the streets of Amsterdam like a local. And I think that's one of the great things that this tour is affording us, is just to see some of the spots that are off the beaten path. So places that you might not typically go to, you know, if you were just visiting the main part of Amsterdam, especially on a cruise when you only have like 8 hours in port. I'm getting to see a lot of the city that I wouldn't have on just a typical sightseeing tour. But it is, of course, still raining, still very rainy, but it's actually kind of nice, especially with the savory dish that we just had at the last stop. Being able to have that, it's sort of just it was a very warm dish, very hot dish with the hot sauce that you put on top of it. So that warmth is kind of nice on this chilly, rainy day. I say chilly, it's 60 degrees Fahrenheit, but raining. And I am filming this in about mid-July. So if you are coming to Amsterdam in the summer, this is, you know, what you could expect on a typical day. They said it was really pretty here yesterday, so unfortunately we weren't here then. But yeah, really enjoying the food tour so far. Really feeling like a local. I've never done a food tour before. This is my first one. But I think I want to start trying these in other places that I visit, because it's definitely a great way to see the local area, to get a taste certainly for the local area. And like I said, feel like a local while you're here. And our next stop wasn't far away at a place called Boca's, and here we got to try rendang. And rendang are these sandwiches that you see here. It's actually an Indonesian dish. Indonesia was Dutch until 1949, but there's 20 different types of spices. There's beef. It's served on bread. Sort of reminded me of maybe like a beef roast or something like that, some like pulled beef. It was really, really good. I think this was my favorite dish that we had all day in Amsterdam on our walking tour, though. I really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed the atmosphere in Boca's. It was a very beautiful dining location. So this was my favorite stop. And then right after that, we actually went just down the street to another bar, and they had all sorts of different types of drinks and coffees and sodas in here. It was a very great location, very, you could tell, lively place to hang out in the evening. But here we got to try bitterballen. Bitterballen is actually the national dish of the Netherlands. And this was very good and hearty. It's just these balls here, but on the inside, actually had kind of like a beef pot pie filling, if you can imagine. So it was real good. So after 3.5 hours, that concludes the eating tour, the food tour here in the Jordaan district. But we've ended in a location in Amsterdam where we're really close to a lot of the sites. So I'm going to walk around and show you some of that. The tour guide was giving us some information of some cool museums and things we can visit. Might be kind of limited today given the weather, but going to at least walk down here and show you a few things. But really enjoyed that walking tour. Really enjoyed all the food. 6 different dishes, and I am stuffed. But it was a great way to see Amsterdam away from the more touristy areas, I'll say. So if you've never done a food tour, a walking food tour, highly recommend that. And of course, you can book that through Short Excursions Group. And speaking of Short Excursions Group, I wanted to say thank you again to them for sponsoring today's video and sending me out here on this tour in Amsterdam. Folks, Short Excursions Group has short excursions all over the world. They're a nice, quick, one-stop shop for all the excursions you're going to need on your upcoming cruise vacation. I've used them all over the world in places like Sydney, Australia. I've used them in the Caribbean. I've used them in Bermuda, and now here in Amsterdam. So make sure you check out Short Excursions Group. I'm going to put a link down below. You can click that link to go directly to their page, and it's so easy to find excursions for your cruise. You're simply going to put in what ship, what sail date for that ship, and it is going to pull up every port that you're going to be stopping at and show you excursions. They have excursions all over the world. So make sure you click that link down below in the description to check out excursion possibilities for your next cruise, no matter where you're going, because we're in Amsterdam. So thank you, Short Excursions Group, and make sure you go check them out. Now we're getting down here into the more touristy district of Amsterdam. One of the first things I wanted to show you here is the Amsterdam Cheese Museum. Amsterdam is known for their cheeses. They are actually, at one time were called cheeseheads because they produce so much cheese. Gouda cheese, if you like Gouda, they produce a lot of Gouda cheese here in Amsterdam. So there is the Amsterdam Cheese Museum right here. And you can actually buy cheeses and things in there and try some cheeses. You just look for the cow out here. That's where that is. There's also the famous canals here, many canals running through Amsterdam. And that's why it's called the Venice of the North, because of all the canals. And actually on Short Excursions Group, they do have some tours for Amsterdam that do the canal cruises. So make sure you check those out. But I wanted to remark on that. And we've seen it in a lot of the clips. We've seen these a lot today, but so many canals all around Amsterdam. And now we've made it here to one of the more famous locations in all of Amsterdam. This is the Anne Frank House right here, and you can take tours of the Anne Frank House. However, that's a reservation that you're going to need to make weeks in advance of your trip, and I don't think that they offer any tours that include reservations to Anne Frank House. You just have to be online at the right time to make those, because this is the most popular ticket in all of Amsterdam. I did want to show you the Anne Frank House here. And the entrance to the Anne Frank House is just here around the corner from the house itself, which was right back there. But you see all the folks queued out here waiting to get in. But a very beautiful location here in Amsterdam. Again, we're just feet from a beautiful canal. Let me walk you over here across the street, and we'll be careful of the bikes driving by. Lots of bikes in Amsterdam that we can look out here and see. What a beautiful day it is in Amsterdam. Beautiful rainy day. You know, it's still beautiful because Amsterdam's a beautiful place, rain or shine. Beautiful flowers everywhere. They've got flowers hanging on all the bridges and stuff. I am just really enjoying this day. All right, so I think that's about all of the sightseeing we're going to do after our food tour. It's raining so hard now. We're about 40 minutes walk away from the cruise pier. So I think I'm gonna hop an Uber back to the cruise ship. But we're gonna have an exciting sailaway later as we sail down the canals into Amsterdam. I'll meet you at sailaway and we'll see some spectacular views as the ship starts to head out of the city. All right, so the time is now right around 5 p.m. back on the ship, dry now, thank goodness, after a great day. I can't tell you, I've thought about that tour nonstop since I've been back on the ship. A very great tour. I've just been so happy with that. It's been a great day here in Amsterdam. I'm kind of sad to leave, but as you can see, they've turned on the thrusters, which means we're about to leave here. We're headed out here at 5. Around 7:30, we're going to be going through a lock at the other end. So that's going to be cool. I've never been through a lock on a, well, I guess I have. I did this morning to get in here. But I'll show you that. But I'm going to show you the sailaway. Like I said, we're getting ready to set sail here now from Amsterdam. It should be beautiful. So yeah, enjoy these beautiful shots of this, what I'm sure is going to be a gorgeous sailaway from Amsterdam. So it's now 7:30, and just as predicted, we are about to head into the locks. You can see it kind of coming up there. I'm gonna walk over to the other side and see if we can see it better. Yeah, there we go. You can see it better from this side. We are headed right into that lock right there. And this is actually the largest lock in the world. And actually the Icon of the Seas, the current largest cruise ship in the world, could fit inside of this lock. So this lock is so big that we're not even going through it alone. There's a ship in front of us too that's going to be going through the lock at the same time. But you see they got folks out here off the side, checking the sides, making sure that we are okay, but I mean, notice how much width we have still. I mean, we still have a long way between us and the edge of the ship. That just shows you how big this lock is, that we can be going through with another ship or another vessel ahead of us, and then the edges, we're not even, you know, right up on the edges. There's still plenty of room. So that just shows you how significantly large this lock is. So once we get inside the lock, they'll actually close that right there. That's like the gate. They'll close that right there. And then we'll be all the way up here, and they'll pour water in. They're actually going to rise the Prima so that we'll be level, not too much to go, but so that we'll be level with the ocean water out there. They're going to rise us up a few feet so that we'll be able to sail right on out to the ocean. But very awesome. Like I said, probably my first time ever being in a lock that, like being awake. Of course, we went through this morning to get into Amsterdam. But this is pretty cool. I never knew that they did this getting into Amsterdam. So this is a treat and a surprise all at the same. So that other ship I was talking about, I actually don't think we're going up behind them. I think we're going alongside them. And we'll see that in a minute. But we're getting really close to the edge now. I think we're scooching over as far as we can. So you can see they have thrown out the ropes. That's going to keep us steady here so we don't move around as they start to fill it up. But it's been about a 20-25 minute operation so far. They've still not closed the gate out back, so I guess we're still inching to where we need to be. We're still slightly moving forward, but it is interesting that they are going to have the ropes out here to hold us steady. And so now I've come to the other side. You can see the other ship up there. We didn't go quite alongside it, but just right behind it. But again, that shows you how insanely long this lock is. You can see all the way the back there, but the water is coming up. You can't really see it. There's nothing noticeable that's happening. So it's not as exciting as you might think. It's not like water is like pouring in everywhere. But the water level has, you can kind of see there, if I zoom in a little bit, that green scum. It's like a water line that I think denotes the level that we're rising to. And before it was about 6 foot of that on the wall, but now there's only maybe a foot left. So I think we've been rising as we've been in here. So I think the operation is ongoing. You know, the lock is flooding, even though you can't really sense it when you're on the ship because the ship is just sitting still on the water. But I think we'll be done here pretty soon and headed right on out. And that's going to do it for our exciting day here in Amsterdam and our walking tour, our walking food tour. I want to say thank you again to my friends at Short Excursions Group for sponsoring this video. It's been a great day, and now getting to end it all here at the locks. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you go down below, give me a thumbs up. Also, make sure you go down in the description if you want to book your own short excursion for your upcoming cruise. Use the link down below, take you to Short Excursions Group. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you on the next adventure. Because we're going to be right up beside them in order to allow the Prima to fit all the way inside of this